welcome back to Reseller Rowboat for another car chat. Yay! Thank you so much. I'm driving, as usual, to work. Today's going to be a little bit different topic. It's not going to be specifically on reselling. So if you're only here for reselling, I just ask you to skip this video and come back because I will have more reselling content for you in the near future. And I appreciate it if you guys would give me a thumbs up and comment below because I'm going to be asking you some questions in this video. I'm going to be talking today about priorities in your life, and reselling fits into that, right? Before I do, I want to thank everyone for their thoughts and prayers for our family. We did lose my mother-in-law on Tuesday, and tomorrow we're going to go to East Texas to have her funeral. And so again, it means the world to us, and I did pass on all of your messages to Janya and the family. So life is going to change a little bit for us in the near future. So we will still welcome your thoughts and prayers. It's going to be a challenge, guys. All right, so I have 5 parts of my life that I want to talk about. I kind of want to grade myself to see how I'm doing in each of those areas of my life. Then I'm going to ask you to grade yourself because, as we know, when we're making plans for anything, when we're trying to organize, we need to look at the overall picture and then just break it down into chunks. So this is kind of like Montessori. Whole parts to whole, all right? And so the first area of my life, and these are in order of priority. My first priority has got to be my family. As you saw this week, it was my priority. Where would I grade myself in the way I am interacting and living for my family and providing for my family? I would give myself about an 8. You know, I try to do as much as I can in our home. You know, we divide up chores, and, you know, I have things that I do and she has things that she does. I'm pretty good at taking care of my parents. I mean, I really feel like I visit them as much as I can. I call them as much as I can without bothering them. When my dad fell and was very ill in December, I feel like I really stepped up, and, you know, I feel like as far as family, most of the things I do, I'm going to give myself an 8. The reason I'm giving myself an 8 is nobody's perfect, and there are times that I feel like I am not reaching out to other family members when I should, not making a special effort to get together or talk, or actually not even taking their calls. There are times, and I feel really, really bad about this, when I get a call from a family member and I know it's not an emergency because I ask them after they hang up. I text them and say, is this an emergency? And I don't take their call. And if I don't feel emotionally in a place where I can talk, I don't feel physically, you know, I'm just exhausted mentally, I don't take their call. If something is going on in our home that requires a lot of my attention and energy, I don't take their call. So, you know, that's why I'm giving myself an 8. So I'd like for you to put down below, how do you think you're doing in your family life? Are you doing everything that you possibly can to contribute to your family's finances, physical needs, emotional needs, you know, things like that? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is my full-time job. All right, here's where we get a little bit, I'm not going to give myself an 8 on this. So, when I'm at my full-time job or working at my full-time job, if something happens in the family, I drop what I'm doing. And I think that's fair. I think that family comes over our job. And I've seen this many times. Sorry, the glare is so bad. I've seen this many times with people, how they're working a job and then something happens in their family and they're just like, sorry, I can't do this. I have to work. Well, I'm not that way. I know there are instances when you absolutely have to work and you can't take off, and especially if there's someone else who could pick up the slack for you, I understand that. But then I've also seen people, and I'm trying not to be judgmental, but they're just like, no matter what, I have to work because, if I don't work, I don't make a paycheck, and so therefore it's affecting my family, so therefore I have to work and I'm not going to take care of this, okay? Sometimes I've seen people use it as an excuse, and I'm guilty of that in the past. I have done that. But I'm going to get, as far as towards my work, I'm going to give myself a 6 or a 7 because I don't want to be there. And I've tried over and over again to fix this to where, when I go in, I'm happy most of the time. I'm upbeat. I pretend I want to be there, but I really don't want to be there. And to be honest with you, and my boss knows this, once I've gotten the basic things done, I leave. Because I can work remotely from home most days. So I go in, I do payroll, I, deposit his checks, I do a lot of the bookkeeping, things that I have to put my hands on. And then once those things are done, I leave. Because I want to go home and do reselling, right? Or I want to do things with my family. So I'm going to give myself either a 6 or a 7 because of my attitude. And it's not so much, well, I think it is projected. I really feel like my boss feels it. And I have to be really, really careful with that, guys, that I don't project the idea that I don't want to be here. He knows that in 4 years I want to retire. He knows that if it was in my power right now, I would retire. He knows that I want to spend more time, with my grandkids, and I'm almost done. Like, I'm just done working a job for someone else. So I think he appreciates that I'm even still there. So priority number 2 for me is my full-time job. So if you have a full-time job or a part-time job, please let me know below. How are you doing in that, with your attitude? Are you showing up on time? Are you really conscientious in your work? Or are you just half-assing it? Sometimes I feel like I'm half-assing it, but I really do try to do the best I can do. One of the reasons he hired me, this is what I heard. When I interviewed years ago, I had just been a school teacher. I'd never worked in a legal profession at all. And I got a chance to get this job, and from what I understood, there was me and one other person that were up for the position that they couldn't decide. And I had a business of my own before, a brick and mortar. And so in the interview, I brought that up, and I said, if you hire me, I don't have any experience in this area, but if you hire me, I will treat your business as if it was my own. And I was told later on that that's the reason I got the position, was because of that one sentence. They really felt like I was sincere and I would treat his business as my own. So I think in that respect, I do that. If someone owes us money, I don't just say, oh, well, I'm never going to be able to collect this, I'm going to give up. No, I always try over and over and over again to collect that money until I have exhausted all resources to collect that money, because if it was my business, I would do that. So in that respect, I get an absolute 10. I'm honest, I would never steal from him. I get an absolute 10. Okay, so number 3 is my reselling. Okay, so if I am sitting in front of my computer and I'm drafting, what I have to say to myself is, first, do I have something to do for my full-time job that hasn't been attended to? And also, is there something for the family that hasn't been attended to? If those answers are no, there's nothing done, nothing waiting, then I can do my reselling. So my reselling is actually number 3. For a lot of you, I know reselling is higher up in your priorities, and that's fine. But I guess that kind of explains to you why I kind of do some of the things I do. Like I was doing auto accept offers and, things to make it easier on me. And I don't spend, 12 hours a day listing, drafting, all that. I have other responsibilities. So how am I doing in reselling? Well, I'm going to give myself a 9, number one, because everyone deserves improvement. But I really feel like I have put everything I possibly can physically and mentally into my reselling business. I really do. Any moment that I have free, I'm doing something for my reselling business, and it can just be as simple as going over to my dashboard to see if I have offers that I can send out. I mean, I really am weaving my reselling into my life. But if there was a choice, if I had to work, and I would choose my boss over reselling, because that's where I make my most money. That's who I'm obligated to. I've made a promise to that I will handle anything, and I drop everything. I drop everything on weekends. There's times he's called me on weekends and he's needed something, and I drop everything in reselling to help him. But if it's family related, I might not. See, that's my next priority. So I want you to grade yourself below. How are you doing in the reselling portion of your life? Are you lazy? Do you have a schedule? Do you have processes that you are always following? Do you have death piles? And by death piles, I don't mean things that haven't been listed, but I guess when I think of death piles, I just think of things all over the place. They're not labeled. You don't know what you have, basically. And you just throw them in a pile, and you don't know what you have. And that's money sitting there, and then you go out and you buy more when you haven't listed what you have. That works for some people, would not work for me. Do you really put the time and effort into it? And maybe this is a hobby for you. And so if you don't put the time and effort into it, then that's absolutely perfect, because it's going to be a hobby for you. But if you're trying to grow a business and, make a healthy profit, are you really putting in all this effort? I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to give myself a 9 for reselling. The next one, number 4, is my YouTube channel. This channel right here. I don't know. I give myself about an 8. It's important to me because it's my socialization. I know there are things that I could be doing for my channel that I don't do. I started using AI about 6 months ago, and I think that's really helped me. But I sometimes I will tell you guys, hey, we're gonna have a hangout this week, and then I don't do a hangout. Well, that's because it's 4 on my priority list, and I have to have it as number 4. I wish it could be higher up, but I don't know. For those of you who have YouTube channels, how low down on your priority list is it? Is it number 1? I mean, if you're trying to be monetized, it should be farther up on the list, right? I'm not trying to monetize this channel. I'm just trying to provide, social interaction, a community, and some tips along the way on reselling. So, yeah, I'm going to give myself about an 8, because I think sometimes there are times I could do a little bit more with my channel. But, again, you have to look at what's number 4, up above it. And the last one now is my podcast. For those of you who don't know, I have an OCD podcast. It's on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, and hopefully get it up on Google and Stitcher in the near future. So if you know someone with OCD, send them my way and I'll give them the link. Can't give the link out to friends, sorry, because I gotta watch my analytics. That is number 5, and that has become the biggest challenge for me lately, is my podcast. I have 18 episodes, I believe, or 19 episodes recorded. I have 8 uploaded. So one comes out a week. The 4th one will come out on Monday. So I'll have a month. I'm like a month ahead, all right, on the uploads. And I did that on purpose. I was told, make sure you have a lot of recordings. So in case you get stuck, you're not, sitting there one day and you don't have anything to upload. That has become a real challenge to me. Because it's a public service that I want to provide. I get no money from it whatsoever. I haven't spent much money on it, but I have the potential to spend money on it out of my own personal pocket, which I do also with the YouTube channel Reseller Rowboat. But that one has taken a real back seat at times. Like at night, I take my computer to bed and I think to myself, okay, I need to record a podcast, or I need to write a script, or I need to produce an episode. But then I think to myself, do I have anything on my Reseller Rowboat YouTube channel I need to do? Like, for instance, I want to make a new cha-ching song. All right. I'm tired of seeing that same cha-ching song. Well, I'm sitting in bed and I'm like, well, I can't work on this podcast because I need to record a new cha-ching song. And then I'm like, do I really need a new cha-ching song? I don't know. Then I think, well, I have drafts I need to write for my business. So then I let my podcast go. I don't work on my podcast, and then I start getting behind. So this is like an endless circle, guys. This is just like, ugh. So right now, my number for my podcast, I would give myself a 5. But I am spreading myself rather thin. But I am excited to say that, well, before I say that, I've left something out of my life. Can anybody guess what it is? I've done family. I've done my full-time job, my reselling business, my YouTube channel, and my podcast. What have I left off? Can anybody tell me? Put it in the comments below. All right. Pause it. What have I left off, guys? Me. I've left off me. And you know how they always used to tell you, like when you're on an airplane and, you can't help anybody until you've helped yourself first and taken that breath, and then you can put somebody's mask on, and you can't take care of other people unless you, sorry, I almost had a wreck, unless you take care of yourself first. Well, sometimes you can't put yourself first. Like when all this was happening with my mother-in-law this past week, if I would have said, well, I can't help her, I can't go sit with her because I need a nap, or I need to exercise, or, I need to meditate. Sometimes you just can't put yourself first, all right? But, so for that reason, I'm going to move myself to number 2. So now it's going to be family, Beth, full-time job, reselling business, Reseller Rowboat YouTube channel, and podcast. All right, so that's what I have to do. So I'm happy to announce that in a few weeks, I'm going back on my schedule working till noon. I have a goal of getting to a certain number of drafts, and once I get to that certain number of drafts, I'm going back to my schedule so that I can take care of myself. So that I can, and I have been doing that a little bit this past week. I've been taking naps. I haven't done like work till noon, but I have taken naps, and naps are very important to me because I stay up super late at night, which is probably not a good thing. But number one, I work better at night. But I listen to podcasts and I play my dumb game. But then there are times I work really late at night. I'm better working at night, do my drafts and stuff like that. So then when I get up in the morning to work, I'm exhausted, and so a nap for me is heaven. And then also from when I stop at noon, I'll have from noon to 3 to work on things like my podcast or my Reseller Rowboat YouTube channel. That's when I will do those things. And so, and I feel like those are for me, really. Like, doing this podcast brings me great joy. Doing my YouTube channel for reselling brings me great joy. So those I consider those things for me. And what else can I do? Like walk. I can walk. I can write. I guess just sit down and watch a TV show or a movie, even if I want to. I'm looking forward to getting back to that schedule, and I think it's coming. I know it will start before December. I know it, because I'm really getting up there. So if you haven't already heard, I have an exciting announcement that I want to talk to you about before I go. By the way, please hit the thumbs up, comment, and share this channel with others. I would greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that as well. And make sure you hit the notification bell for all, so you'll be notified the next time I go live or upload content. But before I close, I did want to make one special announcement if you haven't already heard. I plan to sell some reseller clothing boxes starting in October. And right now, this is the plan, that each box will contain 25 pieces of clothing. There will be a list beforehand of the brands that you will find in each box. So if you are interested, so it's not completely manifested. Like, manifested means that it would list all 25 items and what they are, brand, size, and what type of clothing. Okay, I don't have time to do that, but I am going to make a list for you. Let's just say we have box 1, and then I'll have a list, and I'll say, in this box you will find these brands: Catherine's, Avenue, Lane Bryant, Quacker Factory, Torrid, whatever I put in there. And then you can decide whether or not you want to purchase that box. Okay, that's my plan. And the reason I'm doing this is because I need to shrink my store a little bit for me to feel comfortable in my business. I need to shrink my store. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer these boxes, because I keep hearing from people, especially, that just flew off the counter, dashboard. What I keep hearing from people when I do haul videos is, Beth, I never see that brand. Beth, I never see that brand. Oh, if I bought that brand in California, it would cost $10. Like, I really feel for all of you who have problems thrifting. You're not finding the brands that I'm finding and selling, and you're definitely not finding them at the prices that I'm finding them at. So what I want to do is offer you this clothing, hopefully for cheaper than you're purchasing it for now. And I also want to offer free shipping. So that will up the price a bit per item, but in the end, you're going to save, because, shipping is high, guys. I mean, I started looking at shipping and I was like, whoa. So that's how we're going to do it. So anyway, reselling clothing boxes, we're going to start in October. I'm going to try to do 4 boxes a month. And so if you might be interested, please message me below at my email account, resellerrowboat@gmail.com, because I will put you first on the list. And then those people, I will contact them first before I even put these boxes out on social media. And, you'll get first choice. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you the list of what's in it. So who's going to be the first? Who's going to need inventory? I'm excited. It's a new venture for me. And hey, when I'm out shopping, I should be able to get 25 extra items easy. I'm going to have you guys in mind when I do. All right, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep smiling, paddle on. We're all in this business boat together. Bye.